He roams the earth in search of cold beer, good tunes, free bud, and the occasional afternoon lap dance. Street urchins cry his name, and this is his story. These are the Thrashman Chronicles.
Here we are once again. It's Thursday night. That means we're drinking beer and we're talking shit. It's the Thrashman Chronicles podcast. I'm Johnny Thrash. I am joined tonight by one Mr. Chris Cutter.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me, Johnny.
It's my pleasure, man. Evil Ash returns. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, man. Good evening.
That's right. And Eric
Striker, whatever you want to call me, back again.
Back here with us, man. We're a bunch of drunks. We're talking shit, but I know myself. Here with a bit of a heavy heart tonight, and we were talking about this a little bit before we went on the air just a few minutes ago. On the air, I say on the iPod a few minutes ago, about today's been one of those days where you get bad news, and it's just like, okay, it's bad news, and then a little bit later on, you get even more bad news. It's like, what the hell, We found out today that we lost Christopher Lee, and we're all big fans. Geekdom is represented big time in this room tonight, and Christopher Lee, Dracula, Saruman, Count Dooku, passed away last Sunday. We found out today.
Wicker Man. Don't forget that one.
Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Who could forget Wicker Man?
And dude, and who knows what else? I mean, how many things have we not seen? But what a
Pretty
legendary
much any Hammer horror film,
Oh, dude,
like
yeah. Late 70s, early 80s.
Him and Peter Cushing, they were pretty much just whatever. They're the Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff of the Hammer horror films,
Yeah.
As far as I know, the only person that was 90 years old to have a metal album come out.
Fucking A. The Charlemagne album, yeah.
Like, how many people do you know that are 90 that have a metal album?
I can think of one.
Suck that joint. No, they're first.
Yeah,
they're first.
Yeah.
Like, your first metal album is when you're 90? Like, that's something. That's ballsy.
Oh, man. When you just fucking going for it. I've been wanting to do this my whole life. I'm 90. I got to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point. So, yeah, dude, I mean, thinking back to all those years of I always see him as Dracula. And in the last 10 years, he really came on even more so than when I was a kid. Who at that point, you figure, I'm 42 now. He was 93. I think he passed away today. Yeah. So he had a good 50 years before I even came into this world, and by the time I came along, he was already a veteran actor, and just damn good at what he did. And man, the Count Dooku and Star Wars and Dracula, it's a sad time to lose a great actor like that. Now, for me, being an old redneck boy, as sad as that was, I saw that first thing this morning. I shed a tear this afternoon when I saw that the American Dream Dusty Rhodes passed away today, man. I mean, 69 years old. You talk about going back to back in the 80s, I got into wrestling, and it was the NWA back then, the National Wrestling Alliance, before it became World Championship Wrestling. If you would look at some of their old promos or some of the old shots from back then, they would have NWA at the top. And below that, it would say World Championship Wrestling. And they eventually ditched the NWA and just went with WCW. To me, that was the death of wrestling for me, because I haven't kept up since WCW went under. Very little. I kind of know what's going on with WWE, as they call it now, but it'll still always be WWF to me.
Yes.
Sorry, Pandas. It's got to be
WWF.
Yes.
I'm
sorry.
You,
that was the biggest, stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But you talked about the heyday when we were children.
Oh, dude.
With Dusty Rhodes, and I mean, for me specifically, the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. I mean, that was just Saturday night.
That's wrestling.
It was wrestling. It was Saturday night, up late with your parents, staying in the living room on a one mattress where the only air conditioner in the house was, watching wrestling, and it was the best stuff in the world. And to lose a powerhouse like that, realistically for wrestlers, what'd you say, 63, 69?
69
years old.
That is a very long
life for a wrestler. It really hits home, because those are our building blocks of who we've become.
Well,
and to see him go is just
how
a
old's
shame.
Ric Flair? And he's still doing it, though.
Oh,
isn't
he's
he?
about the same age.
Ric Flair was wrestling Egyptians without. I think
He battled Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
You know?
his original wrestling match was written on papyrus. Is what
dude.
I think.
And you
That
know,
was the belt.
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing too. That's what I love about wrestling, and I love that era. That era to me is so special. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair were arch enemies. I mean, just that was the constant battle was Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen versus Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. Sometimes they would get the Road Warriors with them. But in wrestling, if they're best friends, or if they're mortal enemies, the chances are they're best friends.
Oh, absolutely.
They love working together.
Yeah.
Steve Austin and The Rock are like this.
Well, they read scripts and, bounce ideas off each other.
You just know. Yeah, we work good together. They could walk into a fucking building cold and put on the best match you ever seen in your life.
Yeah,
Okay.
just walk into WrestleMania, no script. Yeah.
I got to admit, my childhood was a little ruined when the first time I found about that was Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter.
He got him.
Yeah, they were good friends,
Yes.
and they hated each other.
Oh,
in the
man.
ring.
With the American and the Arab.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, if you're not following the Iron Sheik on Twitter, you are missing
I am
out.
missing out. I need to. No, I don't. I didn't know.
Oh,
He
you
turned me on to the
fucking
Hulkster.
jabroni.
Dude, you got to
He
follow the
turned me on to the
Hulkster.
Hulkster.
Oh, dude.
Everything's brother.
Yeah.
It's all in caps. dude.
Everything he's going to put you in the camel clutch, you fucking jabroni.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Awesome. It's the best.
Oh, that's okay. When
check it out.
we're
Check
done
out the
here,
Iron Sheik.
when we're done here, I'm following the Iron Sheik
Yeah.
on Twitter, man.
Yeah, he calls everybody a faggot from what I remember, on there, jabroni or faggot, everything I've seen from him. But the Hulkster on Twitter, you only get 160 characters on Twitter, but I can guarantee you, brother is one of those 160
I'm gonna make
characters.
room for brother.
Yeah, there's
Probably
always
two
room.
of the words,
There's always
actually.
room.
Hashtag brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can remember. One of my favorite memories as a kid. You were talking about Saturday nights.
Right.
The Monday Night Wars came around in the 90s.
Yes,
The
yes,
Monday,
absolutely. Monday Night Raw.
it became Monday night. WCW Nitro versus Raw.
Yes.
I was on Team
Nitro.
WCW.
I was both ways. I was mostly
I liked them both.
Raw.
Yeah, see, I was the other way. I was there. I was mostly Nitro. I
Yeah.
kept up with Raw.
Well, you flip back and forth, man.
Yeah,
commercial break, or I don't like this
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
What's
See,
going on over here? And then...
Okay, before Raw went live, because Nitro was live first.
Always, yeah.
Nitro would fuck with Raw so
dude,
bad.
yeah.
They're like, hey, you know what you're missing on Raw right now? Because they're not live. Here's who won on Raw. They're like, now you can stay here because we're live, and this is what's going on right now.
They would put bodies
Yeah.
in attendance to tell them what happened, just so they could rip them.
Yeah.
So they started doing it live. But yeah, the Monday Night Wars, that I think is seen as the pinnacle of professional wrestling.
Yeah,
That was
it
the best.
definitely
The NWO angle was fucking phenomenal. There was no better angle, and they played off of everyone's love for this sport. 10 years of loving Hulk Hogan, and the next thing you knew, he was a bad guy.
The heel.
That was never supposed to happen.
Taking out my favorite wrestler of all time, the Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Rest in peace as well, Macho Man.
Throwing those
That's
things.
right.
They threw them damn Slim Jims on him and
Yeah.
shit. Oh, it was terrible. It was
Yeah,
so
but
good.
like
It was so
that, it was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. I'll never Bash of the Beach. I'll never
takeover.
forget it.
I watched that.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view live, man.
And don't forget, again, we're talking about Dusty Rhodes passing here. He's one of the guys who paved the way for guys like the WCW to introduce guys like Bill Goldberg. I mean, remember the
That's right.
build up for Bill Goldberg? What, it was like 100-0 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Never
He'd
talked.
Walk in, never talked, whipped ass and left. And the only thing we always wanted to see was Raw, fight Nitro.
Yep.
And that's what we always. I mean, we flip back and forth between radio, between channels.
Didn't I
We'd
read-
always get $2 pizzas from Caesars and watch wrestling. It was my college years. So I'm
Oh,
sitting
it's
here,
beautiful, man.
It was just the best beer, pizza, and wrestling. Diamond DDP just.
Oh, DDP,
banging
Dallas
him
Page,
out,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
I would still.
Yeah.
I would love to do a diamond cutter on. somebody.
Didn't I? I thought I read somewhere that I guess Austin and Goldberg are actually going to have a match now. They're going to bring them both back.
chess match?
I didn't know, but that was the thing back
I'll
then.
watch
That's what everybody wants.
That's what we all wanted.
This is 15 years after the fact, man. Like,
Yeah.
how big is that going to be? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man,
if
they
Pat-
need it. They
Yeah,
need it.
you
Wrestling's
know.
struggling.
If Pacquiao and Mayweather can still fight for $100 billion,
Yeah.
Oh,
they
God,
can get
no
together and come
Dude,
off the
for a
top
tenth of that.
turnbuckle
Yeah.
I would much rather watch Austin Goldberg than Pacquiao Mayweather.
No
10
shit.
times out of 10. I could give two shits about that. Yeah. Oh, relive my childhood instead of some fight that I don't care about at all.
No kidding. Oh yeah, dude. You know, WWF. And speaking of Steve Austin, WWF really, they played off of that NWO well because they were getting so killed by that. I mean, we were talking about Dusty Rhodes here, and Dusty Rhodes came out in support of the NWO, and at that point, I'm like, fuck my life. You know, I mean,
Right?
he and Magnum TA and the Road Warriors were my heroes when I was a kid. You know, it's just, I've spent a lot of the day today. You know, YouTube is chock full of all that old NWA Saturday night stuff, man.
Yeah.
And we were watching when they came out, when he and Magnum TA came out as the James brothers, Frank and Jesse James. I love wrestling, man. I mean, because it's like you know, Magnum TA. It's for y'all. He about the time around 89, 90, around in there, he had a bad car accident, and it messed him up for life. And he was such a great wrestler, such a promising wrestler. He and Dusty Rhodes were known as America's Team.
Yeah.
They would take on
wear stars on their helmets?
the two Russians. No, they should have. but they took on the two Nikita Koloff and Ivan Khrushchev, I believe, were the two in NWA, the two Soviets. And there was always that those big matches between those two. And there was a point where Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes got suspended from NWA. Jim Crockett suspended them, put them, just sent them on the fucking road. And out of nowhere, two dudes in masks show up. It's Frank and Jesse James. They're wearing cowboy dusters. They got the black mask. You know, they're just wearing jeans and t-shirts. And of course, no one knows that's Dusty Rhodes when he talks behind the fucking mic.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You know? I mean, it was so, and it was just, it was beautiful. I love wrestling so much. And I remember that was such a cool time with them being Frank and Jesse James, and that evolved, I think, a lot of that into what became the NWO, where it became, wait a second, people kind of like the bad guy.
Exactly. I was going to say the Freebirds were actually my favorite.
Oh, I love the
Von Erichs.
Freebirds.
I can't
But I love the Von
remember the
Erichs too.
Right. I can't remember the exact match it was, but I remember the Freebirds where it was a Christmas time match, and they brought Santa out, and he was talking to the Von Erichs, and it ended up being the Freebird, and they started beating his ass. You know, Santa's kicking his ass, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, I know.
Like, I loved it. I mean, that is one of the things ingrained in my mind. So, I mean, it's just amazing how deep rooted. I mean, once we talk about Dusty Rhodes, that we can go back into our childhood, into our lives, and think back. You know, we don't necessarily consider ourselves like we avid watchers anymore. Does anybody avidly watch anymore?
Not anymore.
anymore.
Not
Right.
at all. Not since WCW went under.
But when
Yeah.
these things come back up, we're right back in the mix.
Dude, I gotta
But no.
admit though, I kind of want to go to WrestleMania since it's at AT&T Stadium this
True.
year because you know it's going to be huge.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
You know who
Yeah.
I miss though? I'll tell you this. I know this is a little bit after. This is like mid to late '90s, but I really miss The Godfather and the Ho Train.
Oh, yeah. I know, that was hilarious.
97. Oh,
Yeah, that's it. I miss
But
that.
that was part of the NWO
Yeah,
area. That was a
and then,
cool era.
That
Yeah.
and then you had also DX was around that
Oh
time.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
See, I think what
Absolutely.
killed it up. What was it? David Arquette. Remember him?
Oh, was it-
Dude,
was
he
it
won.
champion?
He
Yeah.
won the belt.
That's and right there, you
David
go,
Arquette?
All credibility goes out the window
Yeah.
when you do something fucking stupid like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just came up out of nowhere and pinned.
Was
I
it
think it
promo-
was to promote that stupid movie.
Well, it was
Ready to
from
Rumble.
Scream. Yeah, it's Scream era. David Arquette.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
right after Scream came out,
Yep.
and then yeah.
Yep.
They had that Ready to Rumble movie
Yeah.
though, and I think it was to help promote that.
Well, then you got
I was
Macho
just
Man doing Bonesaw from Spider-Man.
Okay.
God,
God. Oh my God. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm watching Spider-Man at 4:00 in the morning, drunk off my ass. And my girlfriend's like, "Is that Macho Man?" I was like, "Get out of here, that's that." And I was like, "Son of a bitch, that is Macho Man." Bonesaw McGraw.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there, Tobey Maguire? I was just like, "Oh my!"
I got you for 3 minutes.
Oh yes, it's
playtime.
God.
Yeah, I
Thank
love it.
God, Macho Man got. He was already famous, but he got that moment in the sun,
Oh,
immortalized it in outside of the wrestling the hemisphere. Where people. Oh, it's sad that there are going to be people who think he's Bonesaw.
Well,
Yeah.
but Thunderlips.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
I always kind of saw it as a bit of a tribute to Thunder Lips.
It really is. But then again, I mean, I look back at the cultural phenomenon of what wrestling has become, and even though Bonesaw, I guess maybe I'm old enough, it'll always be those bright yellow and bright pink outfits. With the big, sunglasses,
tassels. Gotta have the tassels on the arms.
So once you're cultural with the age of the internet and everything, Bonesaw may be some people's first thing to go to, but it will never be what defines them.
Nah, absolutely not. Right. I hear you.
If Bonesaw is your first thing, you need to go look up the Mega Powers. Him and Hulk Hogan tag team, the greatest.
God.
Just God. Every time Macho Man did a promo, I thought his head was going to explode. He was so into it.
I know. Before he even started talking, he's just shaking.
Yeah, I remember one time, it looks like he's literally just snorted a pound of cocaine. And I swear, if Jake the Snake was there, he would have choked him out with his bare hands. Because, Jake the... God, I know so much about this. It's sad.
No, it's not sad.
Miss
It's
Elizabeth
fucking
got
awesome.
married to Macho Man, and as a present, Jake the Snake sent him a King Cobra, and it came out of the presents, and then he's like, "How dare you ruin my wedding, Rick Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts?" He's like, "You almost killed Miss Elizabeth, unacceptable." And I'm just like, "Oh my goodness."
He almost killed. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
The thing I just remember his tuxedo outfit. It was classic.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase?
Oh yeah.
Or
no, when Macho Man got married,
They got married.
They got married.
Ted
on to
DiBiase,
the-
I mean,
the $1 Million Man.
$1 Million Man.
He's still out there. He's and
Him and Hogan are still going strong.
Yeah.
Well, can I put this out there just before we wrap up wrestling? What's your favorite walk-in music?
Oh,
for any wrestling.
First and foremost,
Go ahead.
I'm a Black Sabbath fan.
Okay.
I'm a Black Sabbath lover. But to this day, when I hear the beginning of Iron Man, I think of the Road Warriors.
Yes.
The fucking Road Warriors, man.
Come back to me. You got to skip me.
Man. I know this is a little bit later on in the deal, but when Triple H started doing Motorhead.
Oh, yeah.
The game.
They wrote the song for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's one of mine.
That's not my favorite one, but that's one that just pops out right at me. I mean,
Right.
obviously the Road Warriors and the what is it, the Mosh and Thrash.
The
Headbangers. Yeah, when those guys would come out, there's a lot there. It's kind of hard to pick your favorite.
Great music,
Undertaker. Actually,
it's awesome.
Undertaker's a Black Sabbath song, an intro. You know what I mean? Like the dong, just in him and Paul Bearer.
Oh man,
we lost Paul Bearer. That was last week. A couple.
It's been a little while now. It's been a little while now.
Yeah.
Oh, Percy Pringle.
Oh god.
Chris, what's yours?
It's a kind of a toss-up because again, I'm kind of in the later because of the music part of it. I didn't pay attention when I was a kid for the music. But of course, when that glass breaks, it's your ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, dude, my hair would stand up. We would stand up.
I know the pops.
Oh, dude, it's over. Just run around the apartment. But then on the flip side of it, I love Steven Regal's "He's a Man."
Love Steven Regal.
That was the funniest
Lord
shit I've ever
Steven
seen.
Regal, dude.
He's such an idiot, but it's so funny.
I'm so glad y'all took two of mine, the Steve Austin and the Triple H, but I'm going to have to go with the NWO theme, which is Kevin Nash's theme as well.
Right.
But now I know it is the NWO theme. And then you got to go Hulk Hogan. I'm a real American.
Oh, yeah.
Just like July 4th, that is the...
It should be playing on a station.
On a loop.
Just on loop.
Yeah. Just like...
on repeat.
Dude Love was pretty cheesy, but it was also. But what was
Dude Love was funny.
But what was Mankind's?
What
started with
was
a car
his
crash,
music?
didn't it?
Yeah, it was a car crash. Yeah, that's right.
God, you want to talk about...
Mick Foley's fucking bad.
Dude,
man.
I'll never forget when
the Hell in the Cell.
and they threw him off onto that table. And I was like, okay, I don't care if this is fake or not. That hurts. Dude, that hurts.
That's a 25-foot drop. Yeah.
All of it does. That's the whole thing about it. They know who's going to win. They know all that going in. Man, if you ever get a chance, there's a documentary. I rented it on Netflix probably 10 years ago, and off the top of my head, I can't think of the name of it. But it's about world-class championship wrestling. Sportatorium in Dallas.
Yeah.
All that that day, back to the Von Erich's heyday and everything. And one of the things they went into was how no one wanted to come to Texas to wrestle because them dudes would hurt you. I mean, because it's like okay, they called it a shoot. You hear the term, it's a shoot. That's when two wrestlers get mad at each other and they start really fighting. That's a shoot. And if you ever go on YouTube and you hear If you see Dusty Rhodes, for instance, shoots on this, that means it's an honest interview on whatever. So a shoot, when it comes to wrestling, is when two dudes just get mad at each other and they start fighting. And it happens.
Yeah.
Two dudes that maybe don't like each other or whatever. Well, they would come to Texas, and the dudes from the Sportatorium would just hurt them. The Atlanta guys, the NWA guys would come out here and wrestle. The guys from New York, I remember that from the documentary. The guys from New York, WWF did not want any part of it. But most of the Southerners, they all spilled over. It was such a different time in the 80s because instead of you have WWE and these little guys, you had all these different organizations. You had Florida Wrestling, you had Mid-Atlantic, you had, all of this. And when WWF came around, they just bought up and encapsulated a bunch of other smaller ones and made this massive thing. And so NWA did the same thing, and they started buying up Memphis and World Class, and they were taking all of those wrestlers, and it became, instead of all these really bad-ass regional promotions, it became two really big promotions and everybody else. And then eventually one of those promotions lost. Unfortunately, it was my favorite, WCW, and went away. And when WWF bought them, it was so disrespectful. I remember watching Sting talk about his decision to not go to the WWF after NWA, or WCW, I should say, folded. He said the moment he decided he wasn't going to do that was when Rock was wrestling somebody. And this was the height of Rock's fame, which I love Rock. I always thought The Rock was just one of the best. And this was right at the height of where WWF was going to, was really taking off, and WCW was gone, obviously. And Booker T.
Oh, God.
Booker T comes running out there after a match, and some dudes had tried to jump Rock. And this is where Rock had went from a heel to a babyface. And some guys were trying to jump him, and out of nowhere on Monday Night Raw, here comes Booker T. He jumps in the ring. Booker T was an established WCW guy, and he just starts whooping ass. And he's just beating all these dudes up that are jumping on Rock, and the crowd's going crazy because the crowd's known it was coming. And at that moment, though, Rock stops after everything's over, and he turns around slowly, and he looks at Booker T, and he goes, "Who are you?"
Oh.
And Sting is on record. You can probably look it up on YouTube right now. Yeah. Sting said, at that moment, I knew I was not going to go to WWF.
That's a big slap in the face.
There was no fucking way. And it was so the opposite of the way WCW handled former WWF performers, hence the NWO. Right. Yeah. They brought Nash and Scott Hall in, Razor Ramon and Big Diesel. Yeah. Everybody was excited about them coming on, and they made a big deal out of it. Yeah. And they made it a hostile takeover. Whereas WWF's like, fuck you. And to this day, I'm just like, no, fuck you. WCW was the best. That was my favorite. And that was,
more of the class act.
It's just disrespectful. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And it was, it's just sad.
I can see that for sure.
But yeah, man, we lost Dusty Rhodes today. So it's just,
stirring our emotions, dude.
I know.
Feels.
Wrestling, man. Good old wrestling, dude. That's the childhood right there. But, I'd always like to keep it light. We try not to keep it too heavy here on the podcast. But yeah, you got to pay respect to what you to those who you love and admire. And when you lose somebody as great as Dusty Rhodes or Christopher Lee, man, you can't spend a minute not talking about their contributions to the world, man. You're not doing yourselves any favor. You're not doing anybody else a favor. But like I said, business as usual with this podcast is we talk about stupid people or just stupid shit that goes on in general around the world. And I'll tell you,
Switch
man,
gears here.
they had this. There's this competition in Brooklyn, New York, that is the competition you just don't want to win, man.
You said New York, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, Brooklyn. Yeah, that's right. And so there you go, right
no
there,
sleep
right?
Till Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, no sleep. That's right.
So in Brooklyn, God's honest truth, they have a small penis competition every year, and it's honestly called the smallest penis in Brooklyn pageant. Surprisingly
pageant,
enough,
that's
the pageant. If you've got a tiny little pretty penis,
I don't think any boy should ever be in a pageant to begin with, but especially this one.
I was going to enter the small penis competition, but it's a pageant. I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
Well, they're just constantly looking for exemplary penises to show off, But I mean, this is the thing. Okay, look, if you were blessed, I guess, is for lack of a better word, with a tiny cock, you can win $500 for it. But $500. But here's the thing. How about you got this little bitty dick, and you go and compete, and you don't win the $500.
Yeah.
So everybody knows you got a little dick, and you don't have any fucking money in your pocket.
No, what are they measuring flaccid or erect? Well,
I don't know. I would hope erect at least.
Like if you're gonna
It's a fucking toothpick over here.
Here's the first angry inch, and there's the second one. That's all I got working with right now.
I mean, who wants to win this? Who wants to win
Another
this?
competition like this that I always felt bad for was the Butterface competitions.
Oh, dude, I hadn't even thought about that.
I feel so bad for.
I know.
If you don't know what a Butterface competition is, it's a girl with a rockin' body, and they put a paper bag over her head, and they march them out there like it's Miss America, and they're in a swimsuit, and you're like, man, those bodies are amazing.
Tins on
and
the
then
bottom,
they'll take off
twos on top.
Yeah, then they'll take off the paper bag, and the crowd goes, ugh! Like, I always felt so bad for those girls watching those competitions because they're like, man, I would love to take, and then like, ooh, and I'm just like, oh, poor
everything
face.
looks good.
That's one of those things, yeah, man. Body for porn, face for radio.
Yeah. But
What do we know about that?
yeah, I'd rather win a Butterface competition than smallest dick
Oh
competition.
my
for
god!
sure.
Well, there's, I was going to say maybe the guy that has this really small penis, his tongue might have abs. Like there's other ways around this. I mean, you can make some shit work.
Look, let me tell you.
Better be hitting that gym.
Let me tell you, man.
Tongue boxing.
It's little bitty, but it's got a massive cock ring in the end of it, and I can fucking ram it home like nobody else.
I will fuck that side of that tuna fish can up. That's like can't reach the bottom of it.
My God.
Oh god.
I'll wreck them walls, go side to side.
I just love that there's a monetary award. I mean, you talked about The Godfather and the hoe train. Bring some hoes along. Win the hoes. I mean, if you have the tiny cock, who needs money for? Like, I got some money. Can I buy you a drink? So
I got
back to your boyfriend over here.
Great idea. They should do the tiny penis competition sponsored by Brazzers.
Yes.
and you get to take
That's
home
the
2
idea,
girls from Brazzers that work for them. And there you go. It's for a night. Like that'd be great to win that.
That would be what the guy with the tiny cock really wants.
Yeah.
Because he's not getting it.
Yeah, they know how to treat one. I mean,
Screw the money. He can make as much money as he wants during the day.
But he's still got to show his face.
Small dick.
It's like,
maybe that's what they should do. March them out in paper bags.
right?
That way you can't see
John
them.
Smith over here.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
$500.
No, it's like the dick in the box, but you have like the smallest boxes ever. Like the
It's like a
earring
ring box.
Yeah.
They open it up this way.
Just make sure you don't get them with the clamp till it snaps shut. You might mess some stuff up that way.
Nah, I probably missed because it's so small. Yeah.
God. I know.
Thanks, Brooklyn.
So what do you sign up for this? $500 is $500, man. I'm just saying.
I've never.
Here's the best part, though. They're so low on people that they'll allow you to nominate someone.
There's lots of spiteful ex-girlfriends out there. And ex-boyfriends.
Yeah. Or just dicks.
Like sorry ass
I'm
friends.
going to nominate my buddy. I would do that. I would so fucking do that.
Johnny, I swear to God, if I get that email, I'm going to be furious.
You don't know what you're talking
Now
about.
up on the stage, Striker.
Yeah.
Who the hell? Why would you even be caught at the bar who's hosting the party?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I heard there's a small dick competition. Let's go laugh at them.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any phone calls with the New York area
maybe,
code.
Yeah, maybe if you had a shallow vagina, it wouldn't be so bad to show up. I guess that's a medical condition, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Some girls are like, I don't need a snake. Thank you very much. You look like a nice young gentleman.
Oh, there's fucking love in the air.
This is a Match.com thing we set up now.
Yeah. It is a meetup, right?
Instead of farmersonly.com, it's smalldick.com.
It's small dicks and
small dick and
badges.
small veg.
You got tiny parts.
Yeah.
So do we.
Where are all the girls with the tiny parts at? Because I got a little bitty dick. I really want to do somebody right tonight, but a little big old badge girl ain't going to work,
These are the smallest hallways in town.
Speaking of fucking dirty motherfuckers, man, a couple of weeks back, actually it was in late May now, there was a Louisiana woman. And she was busted earlier for punching her dude in the face, quote unquote, multiple times, and scratching him with her fingernails. Which that's par for the course. The chick gets in a fight with a dude, you're gonna lose some fucking skin, and it's gonna be under their fingernails. Now, thing is, cops show up. Her name, Diane Thomas, 52-year-old woman. Cops show up and they're getting ready to arrest her, and she's stating her case, saying that her boyfriend's a bitch, and then she throwed in that he's got in her face, and so she beat his ass. Well, that's bad enough for being the dude, and for the woman, that's bad enough too when you really think about it. If you're big enough to beat a dude's ass, I mean, how many dudes are you with? But so anyway, this cop shows up, Corporal Chris Ballard, and but he shows up and she's like, she can't go to jail. She tells you, I can't go to jail because I have a good job. And she says, and I quote, absolutely quote this, by the way, if you won't take me to jail, I will get on my knees right now. Officer, I will even lick your butthole.
Dude.
Is that what a ZJ is?
I guess.
Because I can't afford one of those.
I never know because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's what I
That is
learned.
some fucking bribery right there. I mean, have y'all ever seen Bad Lieutenant? Have you seen the movie
no,
Bad
I have
Lieutenant?
not.
Harvey Keitel, one of his best. This chick has seen Bad Lieutenant because Bad Lieutenant would have took her up on that offer. He'd have been like, okay, look here, look, I'll tell you what, we'll get these fucking people out of here, and we're gonna go around the back here, and come here, just fucking tongue my ass now, just tongue my ass now. Let me tell you about Bad Lieutenant.
Is this the beginning of the shift or the end of the shift this happened? 'Cause, I mean, it might be a little bit. You're going to chase some people.
Where are we at here? I mean,
Well, let's also
can
go
we
back
go to the bar later?
At least buy me a few drinks,
you have to look at her. You have to look at her mugshot too. 52-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
That is not the first butthole she's tongued.
No,
Or
if
the
she's
last.
that eager. No, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if she's that eager, that's not her first. There ain't no way.
I mean, just like, I'll even tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's her normal Tuesday.
What's her ideal of a great job?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
By the way.
Yeah, that's her normal Tuesday. Some
her
butthole was getting licked. It was
What-
either this cop's or someone else's. I feel like.
What job would you not want to give up if you would rather, tongue some dude's ass? I mean, that has got to be.
Well, she's a
like,
madam.
president, huh?
She's a madam of a house, actually. Yeah, she runs the house.
What a great job.
Yeah.
I better be hooking up with Christy Mack. If that's the
hey,
only job
Christy
I'm.
Mack.
Christy
That's the only
Christy
job
Mack,
I'm
yeah.
giving up.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about her, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh.
She's bad as shit, and she's just totally got the shaved up the
It's the
sides.
hair.
I
It's
don't
the
know.
hair.
I don't know. There's something about that I
Yeah,
like.
she's hot as hell.
And like if Jordan came home dressed like that, or with a haircut like that, it wouldn't. It'd be like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it's like when you see this raunchy ass porn star, it's got sleeves and this fucking. So, oh, hey,
Well, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
double standards. What that's called, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Lady in the streets, but a freak in the bed is what they say. Oh.
She's a freak on the streets and a freak in the bed.
Yes.
Though. I mean, like at that point, she has a 4.5 foot tall mohawk and her head's shaved and she got full sleeve. I'm just saying, she's seen some shit and done some shit at that point.
By the
Like,
way, if you haven't heard the Christy Mack story, she offered 2-3 years ago. She wanted a Lego statue in her house. If you were to make her an ultimate 6-foot Lego statue, she'd give you a blowjob if you just gave her. And I was just like, man, where can I get a shit ton of Legos right now?
garage
I better get to
sales.
work.
I'm like,
You're online.
calling up Johnny and I'm stealing your kids' Legos. I'm
Yeah.
taking everybody's Legos
Well,
right now.
at Lego.com, you can actually buy them in bulk.
Yeah.
It's for a good.
So, yeah,
It's
Well, that's
cause.
why.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Make
Yeah.
a Wish Foundation, here I come. Give me some Legos. That's what I want.
I want some Legos, please.
Yeah, some guy at Legoland is like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Oh, all my life.
Those
I
guys
would
that
just-
build those life-size Star Wars X-wings. That guy has it
I was
under
just going to
wraps.
say,
It
I would
paid
just
off.
steal one.
Paid off.
Yeah.
And,
Will you take a Chewy? Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of crazy bitches, Y'all watched the video of the two girls throwing down there in Walmart, right, up in Indiana?
Well, that's a weekly event at Walmart, isn't it?
I think so.
Like,
I think they may have actually hit a new low with this one, man. Good God.
See, what I hated with this video was they put shocking Walmart video. What video out of Walmart isn't shocking? Like, there's never a
if it's not just
video.
you walking through the checkout.
Yeah.
Let's make an unshocking Walmart video.
Then
That'll
I
be the
will
hit.
be shocked when you find that.
This guy bought bananas and nothing happened. But no.
No one shoved one up their ass. You know? How did
Surprise!
How did you get out of here without that, man? I mean,
You know, at that point, I watched the video and I wish the little kid would have just started like getting lube and just squirting on him, just so it would have been like an oil wrestling
been
event in the middle of the aisle.
totally, yeah.
I was surprised.
I would have paid money for that, man. Like,
Yeah, there's some shampoo on the floor.
There's some
in that.
shampoo
I
or
saw
some
that.
glue on the floor, and I'm waiting for him to like hit it and like
slip, yeah.
nothing at all. I was a little disappointed. Dude in the little bright green Batman shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to be honest. That dude was like, he was like the guy on the And One mixtapes. Like, I'm gonna beat your ass. He was like the little mix man, like the hype man, right?
Yeah.
He was the hype man,
He's the
throwing a
Flavor
couple punches in there.
The Flavor Flav.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
oh, that 6-year-old boy's future's got to be bright.
Oh, it's as bright as his shirt.
Well,
Yeah,
it'll be bright till he's about 15. Then it'll be in juvie.
Good God Almighty, yeah.
Nah.
but hey,
On my first rodeo.
Yeah.
forget that. What about the girl who started it? Was in the
I know.
motorized cart.
And the next thing he's just
like-
fighting.
Good God, there's a miracle.
Yeah.
She fucking sprung up out of that.
You mean you're just a lazy motherfucker?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the
Really?
those
That's
carts.
the
Those
shocking
carts
part.
are those carts are made for disabled people and people who can't, like, old people. You know what I mean? They can't
right.
really walk.
Yeah.
Not your fat
You're
ass.
just
Yeah.
a lazy motherfucker,
Yeah,
right?
know.
you,
No
you
shit.
motherfuckers that take those carts from the elderly are the biggest pieces of shit
Oh,
on the
I
planet.
know. She deserved an ass whooping.
Yeah.
She deserved to get hit by a 6-year-old kid in the
With
face.
a shampoo bottle.
Like,
Yes, he's hitting you with a bottle.
yeah.
Love it.
Oh.
The son of a bitch has a chair.
Oh, let's get back to wrestling here.
Yeah, all right, I had to bring it back.
Oh, that was the best damn thing since. I mean, seriously.
witness. He's broken in half.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got the chair. The chair. The chair.
All right, when
the
we leave
chair.
here, we're gonna re-edit that with wrestling dub overs. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That actually, we might ought to do that.
Yeah. Dude, that clip is
You
on
just-
mine because I
you-
watch it on
yeah,
a weekly basis.
You just sparked an idea.
You're welcome.
That's what you start doing is just doing Walmart fights. With,
Just,
like,
Big Jim, or Big Jim. Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, dude. He's got the chair. The chair.
did you see the McKinney cop with the sabotage edited over it? Like
Oh,
the Beastie
yes, that
Boys
was
sabotage?
awesome. They do the roll.
Yeah.
They do the roll. It's like, oh man, I love it when people make light of a fucking situation. It's got everybody by the balls
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
While we're on that subject, it's like, you know what? You could see either side of it. I'm not going to weigh in. I can see that he probably shouldn't have pulled his gun, but then on the other end, on the other side of that, just like, when the fucking cop tells you to get out, you sit down.
I'm saying.
When a cop tells you to leave, you should leave.
You just
won it 3
leave.
times.
You turn
but then
around.
again, it's a girl in a swimsuit. She doesn't have a gun. You don't need to throw her. I see
I
both
don't-
sides.
I
I see
me too.
both sides.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
I see both sides. I mean, again, yeah, you tell her to leave. She comes back at you. You put her on the ground. Then some dudes surround you. I mean, again, I'm not a police officer. I'm just like y'all. I kind of see both sides. I'm more of, dude, cop tells me to do something, I just walk away. Yeah. You know, I just, yes, sir, no problem, sir. I'm out.
Absolutely.
You know? But
Yeah.
I mean, it's
A little yes sir, no sir, and respect goes a long way with law enforcement.
You damn right it does.
I have got out of a lot of fucking sticky situations with respect.
Buddy, you're-
well. I also
kidding.
offer
You
to
ain't
lick their
kidding.
butthole, but that's just me.
yeah, well,
Well, I was going to, but now you've ruined
that
it.
was the last step. If I couldn't get out of it the way I was going with it, butthole lick it was the last resort.
See, that girl didn't offer. He just put her down.
It's like he was expecting it. Spit that fucking gum out and lick my asshole now.
By God, this is McKinney.
God, I'm gonna start using that to get out of tickets now.
Dude, but you know what though? One of my best friends on this planet. We've been friends since we were little boys. Ash has probably met him. Jeff Owens, Vernon boy. He was a detective recently. You know, Vernon had a lot of problems financially. The old city council had kind of left them in a bad bind, and they had to make some budget cuts. And I don't know the story of it, but I always assumed because there was only like 3 detectives there, he was the junior detective, I'm guessing. And when they had to cut one, you're going to go for that guy. But he had worked for Vernon for 12 years as a cop, and he went to school down here to the academy here in Wichita Falls. And one of the things he told me while he was in the academy, because, here I am, this heathen that's just like trying to get insight. What do I got to do, One thing he told me, he said there's a test that you take every single time you have an interaction with a police officer, and it's called the attitude test. And if you fail it, you're going to at least get a ticket. If we have it our way, you're going to go to jail. If you pass it, you're probably going to be on your way.
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Well, dude, I've been pulled over. Probably should have went to the old plenty of times. Well, twice I know it's happened at least for me leaving a bar, and everything was cool. Yes, sir. No, sir. I got out, did the test, walked the line, everything like that, and they were just like, "All right, man, you've been drinking. Have somebody come pick you up. You haven't been an asshole." I've had plenty of cops and highway patrol and sheriffs. They're like, "Look, if you're cool and you're not a dick, you're probably going to be on your way. Or you'll let you call somebody. You're on meth or you're an asshole. Your ass is going to jail."
Yeah.
Well,
look, they're people too. I mean, that's the way I look at it. They're doing a job.
They don't want to write reports, man. That's the main thing.
Nobody wants paperwork.
Yeah, man, fuck that.
Listen, I'm also not ignorant enough to say that there's probably a couple of dick cops somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Somebody
There's assholes in every
and that's
group.
the ones we hear about. That's the problem.
Unfortunately,
with it. Unfortunately,
right.
It's the bad apple syndrome.
Maybe twice a year you hear like a good cop story. Like I heard like a couple months ago, there was a woman that was getting a speeding ticket and she couldn't afford it, but she was going like 20 miles over. And he's like, "I got to give her this ticket."
Yeah.
But you know what the cop did? Like he paid the ticket and then went and bought her groceries later that week. And like she was like a mother of 4. And I was like, that's a good cop story that you never hear.
But you know what?
Oh,
though,
it wouldn't go viral, yeah.
But the thing is though, like stuff like that probably happens all the time. We don't hear about it because it's nothing violent. There's no sex. There's no guns. There's no rock and roll. So like nobody wants to hear about that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, nobody can bitch about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Nobody can bitch about it. Oh, that son of a bitch. He's such an awesome guy. God damn it.
Yeah, I know.
So they can't bitch about it.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like at prisons. All you ever hear about is butt rape and like shankings and prison riots. But like you never hear about how many pounds of like fresh grown produce they've donated to local food banks.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never hear about that.
It's not the sexy story.
Yeah. And
it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Sensationalism, man.
Yeah.
And we thought it grabbed people, 20 years ago when the internet was first getting going. Man, it's unbelievable now. There are a lot of righteous motherfuckers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
You hide behind that.
And they're circling. They're like vultures. I mean, they're like vultures, really. And waiting for someone to fuck up. And when they do, it's just an attack. It's an all-out attack. And I can't get my head around that. Why you thrive off of someone's misery, but there are people in this world who do. I tend to be the other person that's probably willing to go too far the other way and say, well, let's hear their side of the story, even if they're they turn out to just be a gigantic asshole or someone that really did something fucked up. But it's like, I don't know, and you even have to be careful in this medium, podcasting. You say the wrong thing, and somebody, oh, you're such an insensitive prick. If you're supposed to, I just don't.
Well, the internet has given everybody a microphone. Whereas before, I mean, I guess you could maybe call it ignorant. I don't know what you would call it, but nobody had a voice. We didn't have a way to shout our voice. Now everybody can get online.
Oh man,
whatever it may be. They can get behind Facebook comments or Reddit or Twitter or whatever, and they can blindly they can make a new one and be like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Just talk shit to you.
The opposite of that is getting called a faggot by a 6-year-old.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm trying to play World of Warcraft over here. Fuck you.
Xbox Live.
Kids
are brutal.
I'm like, look, I will find out where you live and murder both of your parents in front of you.
Yeah.
Dude, I have no problem with that. Where you live at? Like, don't call. You don't know me.
Dude, I know. And with the radio station, I don't have it so much with me personally, like on Twitter, on Facebook, but the station in general, people will really throw some pretty caustic things out there, and they feel like they're just tweeting at this radio station, but what they don't really realize is they're tweeting at me and Eric.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty much we're it. And we'll just say shit they would never, ever, ever, ever say to your face. And that grinds my gears, because I guarantee you this much. I have never said anything on the telephone or on Facebook or in a letter that I would not say to your face. Yeah. I can swear to God right now, and I just don't understand why anyone would ever think that that's okay.
It's like what I'm holding right here. It's liquid courage. It's internet courage.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Think that
brave.
You'll never see them in face to face.
Yeah,
that there's never a price to pay for that.
Well, that's like, you know, I mean, I know you've probably seen this. A couple weeks ago, Obama joined Twitter. You know.
I did. Yeah.
And Obama.
Oh God.
And like, there was so many N-words and racial slurs in that
it's
thing.
pathetic.
Yeah, it was horrible. It's like, dude, like if your way of thinking is like that,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you should just do the Planet of Flavor and just off yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like,
dude, no
we've got enough
shit.
of your ass.
Yeah.
Your 9 kids, you know, and all. Yeah, we don't need you.
Yeah.
You know, as a human race.
The bad thing is, it is that the race thing, just about the time you think it's all getting better, we just elected a president. Yeah, he's half white and half black, but it still doesn't matter. He's black, and his family is black. And you think we have just crossed a major hurdle in the history of the United States. It has been, this country's more divided racially than I can ever remember it being. I'm 42 years old, and I thought we had really crossed the hurdle. I thought we had really.
Well, yeah. Before you were born, you learn a history class. You thought we crossed the hurdle, then everything was cool, and like, you know, this stuff that's happening now, it's fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
We're going backwards. I don't get it.
Well, it's just because we're all fucking doing this on our phones now.
Yeah,
we got our noses buried in our phones.
Yeah.
We don't give two
we're looking at our
about
phones and we're not looking at fucking each other.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. That's the internet courage. Is we're not looking at each other. We're not just sitting across from each other talking things out. And yet, you know, everybody has a lot of power to type whatever they want in 140 characters or whatever, or emojis, for God's sakes. And you can get away with all this stuff and think, oh, it's not going to come back on me. I mean, you look like a horse's ass. I mean, whether you're saying something about the president or race or what, you look like a horse's ass to most everybody else.
Well, it's one of those things. It's 2015. No matter what you say, whether it's print or you put it on Facebook or live, somebody's going to find out who you are and put you on blast.
Yeah.
Right.
You damn
know what I mean?
right. They'll take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, a screenshot. Like, this bitch right here called me this, and I, you know, I mean, like, you can put somebody on blast as easy as just as they can put you on blast this day and age, you know? Like, put it all on Front Street.
I'm all for, you know, the Second Amendment rights, you know, and
absolutely
rights to free speech, but that doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want, but you're not immune to the consequences.
Yeah,
that's
saying you're an asshole for saying what you said. Right? Yeah, totally.
You still have to deal with being an asshole, and if that means you lose your job or you get caught on Front Street or what, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to deal with it, and then for them to bow up and be like, well, "What did I say that was wrong? That's my free speech." Well, you can say it, but it still means you're a dick.
That's right. Doesn't make you any less of a dick. You're absolutely right, man. Yeah, dude. It's a crazy time we live in, man. You know, but even crazier than the times we live in, you know what's really crazy? Is thinking about someone being 40 years old and a virgin. There was a hilarious movie made about that recently that I thought was fucking just fiction. I mean, granted, I'm not dumb. There are probably people, aside from clergy, you know, Catholic priests and nuns who live their whole life as virgins.
Johnny, you've obviously never been to a Comic-Con. If you have you seen some?
Yeah.
Have you seen some?
This is
comic book store like smell.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's been pretty. Yeah,
yeah. It's
bad. Not the most.
Yeah. These people exist.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm blown away at the amount of those people. I guess I should, now that you mentioned, you know, comic book. I guess not that Japanese people are necessarily all geeky or whatever, but you know, a new survey's revealed that a quarter of Japanese men are still virgins by their 30s, and the problem's gotten so widespread that they're offering courses on this, trying, you know, getting laid. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I was like 6 years old when a friend of mine showed me his big brother's Playboy. And I thought what just happened to me was only supposed to happen when I slept and I had to piss real bad. I didn't realize that was for something else.
It's like the jerk. It's not special purpose.
Oh my God, what happened? I remember telling my mom, like within a day, I was scared. It's just like, and at like 6 years old, my mom had to have the most uncomfortable talk. Who had 3 older daughters? I was the baby, 15 years after the oldest girl. And she's having to try and explain to me, and I just could not, But at that point in my life, though, my mission was to get laid.
But the thing is, like we were talking about earlier, I think the thing is there's so much like emphasis, or people are so wrapped up in their electronics. I mean, there's sex toys now who can hook up to your fucking iPod and fuck. You know what I mean? Like, there's dolls you can spend $3,000 on. You get them however you want, and so you don't have to have any human interaction. I mean, like. Yeah. I think the times that we live in, I would say, in all honesty, I bet you if you did that same survey over here, we'd become pretty goddamn close.
You think so?
I think we would be.
I think that's why they were making PlayStations so well.
I don't know.
Yeah,
they just don't have time for sex. They're busting out iPads and iPods and PlayStations.
Maybe not 25%, but I bet you there's a good probably 15% of people that are 30 years old who haven't had sex.
Let's see, Eric, you're 26 now?
26. Yeah.
26. Ash, you just turned 30?
31.
31 now. Yeah. Chris, 35. I'm 42. I mean, I've known what it was like since I was 17. Probably most of us close to that.
Roughly,
if you're
16.
Not to get too personal, but and you figure 4 of us in this room together that had it at way before way before 30. Like, that just seems.
I deal with a lot of 18-year-old kids and 21-year-old kids that come to the shop and stuff like that, and they're so obsessed with their phone they cannot put it. It's a whoopee to them. It's a safety device, and they can't let it go, and they don't know how to talk to a person.
Yeah.
They don't. There's no social interaction, and they don't know how to talk to somebody.
That doesn't surprise, especially.
But these are 40-year-olds.
But that's a different culture, Johnny. That's a different culture where honor and everything else is held so high that it doesn't surprise me. And frankly, they've done a lot to hold back women, and they only want male children and things. So there's a lot there that maybe is holding back a large portion of that community. I
mean, plus playing League of Legends full time for a day job, that takes 12 hours a day. I mean, that's a lot of work. You dehydrate when you get done.
Watch a lot of anime.
Yeah,
they're watching anime over there.
Well, all I can say is if that is the norm for Japan, then thank God for our army in the 1940s, because them fuckers. Well, we would be very fucking fluent in Japanese culture.
It's one of those things right now. It's like, hey, tell me what your League of Legends character's up to right now, level-wise. Don't tell me what the inside of a vagina feels like. Like
I can. Okay, on the flip side, I can tell you what a vagina feels like. But I can't. Yeah. Okay, so I got you. No, but you know what's crazy about this though? The program they have is called Virgin Academia, and they had helped quote unquote able-bodied improve their viewpoints on sex. And they taught relationship skills. Now, that got shut down by the police. So after that got shut down, what they ended up doing was they kept it alive by having what they called a life drawing class. So what they would do is they would have men sketch naked women so that they could get used to the human body and understand it. And one of the guys they quoted in the article I read was 41 years old. And he found the class very, quote-unquote, illuminating. And here's what he had to say about it. The first time I did this in autumn last year, I was so amazed. Their bodies are incredibly beautiful. One thing I learned is that there are many different shapes of breasts and even genitals. Is there no fucking porn in Japan? I mean,
no, it's all blurred.
What?
Man, it's all
You're 41.
He has a great point.
Yeah. Titties aren't blocks?
No, they're not. And titties aren't blocked out over there. Though.
Yeah, titties aren't blocked out.
Yes, and the vag. But
that was an hour-long debate one time at the bar. Like, why is all that Asian porn just like blocked out?
Well, you know the crazy thing is over in Japan, from what I understand, is if you are married, you can actually go out and have sex with a prostitute because there's no love involved. It's just a transaction, it's a money, like a money transaction there. So you can go out and have sex with prostitutes all you want, and like your wife can't get mad because it was not about love. It was just a money, like a monetary transaction.
This is so fucking.
Yeah.
And now my head's gonna explode.
Oh, okay.
Baby,
Johnny-
I just went out and bought a donut and some ass.
Yeah.
All right.
And
yeah.
25% of your population have never had pussy.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, but this is okay.
Johnny, I got a creepy thing for you for Japan. Like you know your standard chip machine that has like the little circles that move the chips forward.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Japan, they have one that has used panties in it that girls have worn, and you put like $5 in. And
There's actually girls on eBay that still do that too.
well,
Like,
yeah,
they-
there's that, but I'm just saying, no, it's just like a chip machine,
yeah,
in the middle
like
of
a
the
vending
street,
machine.
and you put $5 in, and you get some panties.
Oh,
That
shit.
girls
Fucking
want.
straight up.
Is it
Dude, I saw Tom Green was in Japan, and he was just like
Tom Green.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
my God.
Blast from the past?
You want to talk a good era of MTV?
Yeah,
But,
buddy.
like, yeah, but like he just walked around Japan. He's like, "What is this?" And like inside of it was
scotch?
just some used panties in like a Ziploc bag. But what I'm thinking is like, how do you know that it's not a dude that was wearing those panties?
No shit.
Exactly. You
That's
don't know.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
If I could donate some panties to that and
Yeah.
make a little money,
Yeah.
I'd throw them on
Yeah.
all day long.
My
Nobody
question is,
see me.
Why
but
is this pubic hair 3.5 inches long?
it smells like ball sack?
Yeah.
No, that's balls, not veg. No, my thing is it cheaper by the fat bottom girls or is it more expensive? I mean, is it
Well, there's more service here. It had to be more expensive.
is it by square inch, square yard?
I just think it would be funny if there was actually like some gum in there with it. Like, yeah, I want some panties and I want my breath smelling good as well. Like, I just always thought that was crazy.
And a Coke.
Scotch Striker?
Yes, of course.
Guess I'll have a Coke along with the panties. It's fucking crazy though, man.
I wanted Twix, damn it.
I don't know, you know, and here's a trip too. This right here, this is the total opposite of everything that should be with marriage. A quarter of married men in Japan are virgins. They even have a moniker for them, Yarissimo. Now, let me tell you what. I love my wife. I love my kids. We get married, I better get some tail.
Well, you better consummate that, man.
I mean,
that's the whole plan. I mean,
obviously the kids couldn't come without that.
yeah.
But I'm
well,
just,
they could, but not with you.
Let's go,
Yeah.
but let's go all the way back to the beginning of this. I just married you. I'm committed to you. What are we waiting for? I mean, it's a honeymoon for us, you know. That's our culture, you know. The honeymoon, you're bam, you get some tail, you fucking knock it down. You go. For most of us, it's beforehand, but you know.
I just saw a terrible picture on Facebook, and I hope
please share it.
I hope it was fake. Apparently, some guy was off in Iraq for 12 months, and his wife was pregnant, and I was like, how long does it take to make a baby again? Like,
Dude,
and it said "Welcome home, Daddy" on her
Yeah.
chest, and I was like, he was away for 12 months.
Yeah.
Now I paid attention in sex ed.
Well,
that guy's
growing up
very-
in Lawton, there was a
virile.
lot of my good friends that had shit like it had happened to them. They'd get married, they would go off, and they would come back. They would go off for 9 months and come back 6 months later or something, or 6 months. They'd be 6 months
Yeah.
pregnant. You know,
Yeah, you're trying to figure out the math on
And they're
it.
like, okay. It
Yeah,
happened to a real good buddy of mine, and it would happen to him. He's like, well, I broke up with her ass, and now I'm hanging out on the beach in Hawaii, and that bitch is back here fucking pregnant with they do stuff on my couch.
yeah.
So I got the better end of the deal. you
Right,
know?
right.
Like,
Yeah. Hey, dude, you got to find the silver lining, and that's one way to do it. You know, I was that guy, and you know, I hate to throw everything out there in front of the world, but most people that know me know that anyway. And I was the guy that went on a 6-month deployment in the Navy. I went out for 6 months. I came home to a 2-week pregnant wife, 3 weeks, I guess, at the time, and she was my wife. She was my high school sweetheart, and I'll tell you what, it was the best fucking thing that could have ever happened to me, man. I mean, because I look back on it
did you sit on a toilet seat? What happened?
you know, yeah. I mean, but it was one of those too, though. I didn't come home and she was waiting on me with her belly painted, and you know, it was so obvious. It was over before I even got home. Honestly, to be honest with you. So while it had ended basically, not officially, but a month or two before we were out, but it sure before I got home, I should say, a month or two before I got home. But it sure didn't take long for her. So I know what those dudes go through in this and that. But I'll tell you what, man, if you can't wait, then you know what? You've done your man a favor. I mean, it broke me down so bad for so long. But, dude, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because so many military dudes, you're so full of emotion and you so want to have that connection to your home, and you got your girl back there, and as a guy, as a booter or a Rick, as we'd call him in the Navy, as a Rick, and you're out in this little town or in this big city, and you know nobody, you're not going to meet any chicks or anything.
Yeah.
So everybody had their girl back home, and and how many of those girls it just went sour, and it was like I said, it was the best thing that could ever happen to me. While it didn't appear to be at the time, it was just like, man, my life is so much better without that. But you look at that guy with that picture there, and he was gone for a year, and she's standing right there in front of God and everybody, like, hey, look here, and it's like, am I really supposed?
Yeah,
it was nothing like that for me. It was like I left the pier, and she was there crying on the pier, waving goodbye, and I came home. There was nobody there, and I was like, "Fuck the world! I'm getting drunk. We're gonna go to Puerto Rico on fucking hookers." And
that's what I tell all the guys that come in, man, at the shop, dude. I tell them, like, "Hey, you got a girlfriend?" I'm like, "No, keep it that way till about 25. Have fun. Get in the Air Force. Go out and have fun. Do what you want to do. Wear a condom. And fucking that's it, man.
You're damn right.
And just have fun with your life, man. Start to worry about settle down about 25, 27, and then just have fun."
That's right.
Because
absolutely.
You're 18, 19 years old, man. The world is yours. You can travel wherever the hell you want to at this point, but just have fun.
Yeah.
If you meet a girl and she's cool as shit, which most of them are fucking crazy, but there's ones out there every now and then that aren't.
Except for my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was going to say, I found it good.
Yeah, I said most.
Right.
You're right, Ash.
But yeah, man, just have a good time. Just be young and enjoy life, man,
Enjoy life, man.
All I know is that if I got married and there was no tail involved, I better get one hell of a tax break from my fucking government. We're not having sex and having all this.
I jerked off 7 times yesterday.
I'm meeting my quota.
And you're eating me up with taxes, man. Can I get some fucking money back? Dude, I'm not getting
it's my money and I want it now.
What happened to that commercial?
It's still on. It's still on.
I had to bring the JG
just
late
at night.
This episode of Thrashman Chronicles brought to you by JG Wentworth.
It's my money and I want it now, and I love podcasting. And once again, we have wrapped up another Thrashman Chronicles. Damn, it goes by fast, and it's so much fun. Thank you, Eric, again for coming around.
Yep.
Eric, Twitter handle.
At Striker 1063, Striker with a Y.
Eric Ogre Smith on Facebook.
Yeah, you can follow me there.
That's right. My man Ash is active on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. It's thirsty_and_miserable.
He's also on Facebook, too.
And Facebook, just Jordan Ash Pulley.
And my man Chris Cutter, the voice of the Wichita Falls Coyotes, Old High Football right here.
Hey, check me out on Twitter at It's Just Chris with the underscores in between. You can follow me on Facebook if you want, or follow the Coyote Game Day at Twitter at Coyote Game Day.
There you go, man.
And it's Coyote, not Coyote.
That's right.
That's right.
By God.
Don't you dare say it.
Don't you do it, damn it.
There'll be a lynching involved. You say Coyote.
Dude, that is some internet justice that will come out. Like, Coyote, what? I mean,
get a fight started up here.
All my old high brethren know it's Coyote.
That's right, brother. I'm Johnny Thrash. I'm on afternoons along with Stryker. He does middays. 1063thebuzz.com is where you go to listen live if you're outside of this area. I'm on Facebook, Johnny Thrash. I'm on Twitter, _Thrashman. You can also find me on Instagram, Johnny Thrash1. Once again, we have kicked another podcast ass, and it's because of y'all, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Double digits now.